5-video series where we're demonstrating how to record a song with less expensive and more accessible gear. Once again, it's very important to watch the entire series so you can better understand why we're using the techniques showcased in this video. Today we're going to record drums, and since we're only using 2 microphones, we gotta have a good strategy to get good results. We're continuing to use Pro Tools and using an Apogee Duet as our interface. We're staying pretty consistent with our microphone usage throughout these videos, and are sticking with the Shure SM57 directly connected to the Apogee Duet's preamplifiers. Given that we only have 2 channels, later we're going to overdub the overheads. As you can see, we've placed the microphone between the snare and the hi-hat, so we can capture roughly the same amount of sound from both sources. The other microphone is placed inside the kick. It's very important to create a production plan for these types of unorthodox recording techniques with the musicians to take care of the arrangements in a basic manner. This way we can be more organized, which will help to avoid complications during editing. Let's start to record drums with our reference track. Pay attention to how the drummer leaves out the corresponding sections so you can overdub the cymbals later.
Outside my window, busy people come and go, while in the darkness of my room I sit alone, wondering about who could be the one to lead me to the light. Could it be you? Without your tender kiss, I no longer can resist the magic of your lips. I just wanna know, are you feeling it at all? And open up your arms the day I fall. I just wanna know, will you come and set me free? I got a feeling this is the beginning. I'm gonna love you to the limit.
Okay, here we have the kick and the snare, and as you can see there are more than 2 channels with a total of 5. I had to use some tricks and techniques so I could achieve a bigger sound. We only have 2 available channels and they were recorded with 2 basic microphones, so we must add some processing to achieve a bigger sound. So starting with the kick, the first thing I did was duplicate it, so I'm using the duplicated channels as my primary channel, and the original channel I'm using as my secondary. So now, on the primary channel I connected a trigger to the kick drum so you can hear what it sounds like. This was captured originally. And then the sound of the trigger is this one. It's a bit metallic because it's a pop rock song, so I like it. But for me, it was a bit too metallic. So I used an EQ here and cut some high frequencies so it wouldn't sound that metallic. So in the original channel of the kick, I inserted a plugin from Waves that I think is good because they have some interesting presets. I used its default settings. Then I used the EQ to cut all the low frequencies because what I'm trying to do here is to boost all the high frequencies the microphone could capture. And given that in my duplicated track I have the sound of the kick drum that I want, I'm going to use this track to boost the high frequencies, which is why I'm boosting them here around 6 kHz. And as I said before, I'm cutting all the low frequencies because I don't need them in this case. Then I applied a compressor to control the dynamics and give me more or less an even signal. In another way, distorted as well, because as I said before, what I'm trying to capture is the sound from the hi-hat with this microphone that was placed on the kick. So I needed to put it on the kick because I needed to capture the sound for the trigger. What the delay basically does is separate the sound, making it a bit more stereo, like it was captured with two room microphones. This is the sound of the first microphone on the kick, with processing. Now this is the sound without any processing. Now with everything. I can hear some more hi-hat. Now in combination with both. Now with the snare, I do something similar. I duplicated it 2 times, so I'm pretty much doing the same thing as I did with the first microphone. I'm also using pretty much the same plugins as well. With this plugin, I'm using the default settings. Here I cut some of the low end and boosted some of the highs to regain some of the sound of the hi-hat. And I'm also using a compressor to compress the sound a bit to bring out the sound of the hi-hat some more. Since we don't have any mics on the hi-hat, these techniques help us to bring out the sound of it. And as I mentioned with the delay, it helps the instrument sound a bit more stereo, as if we captured the ambience of the set once again with 2 room microphones. Here, I have another channel where I did the same thing. Here is where the chorus of the song begins. In the verse, I didn't put anything on it, so it can be more smooth and therefore the chorus can have more impact. But basically, it was pretty much the same since it was duplicated. Lastly, here we have the sound using a trigger, which gives us more attack and punch. Let's listen to what it sounds like without the trigger. Here's what it sounds like with the trigger. This is pretty much the processing I've given the signal to prepare it for the song's mix. This is what it sounds like with the 5 channels together. Stay tuned and watch the next video where we will be overdubbing the cymbals. Also, check out our channel.